What's up, all you doodles and doodlers out there, you schemers and dreamers? Welcome back to another episode of Doodle Talk. This is episode 19, and feeling good. Let's get the ball rolling. So first, to kind of go over some housekeeping stuff, the Doodle Island animation that I was working on is finished. Woo! I did it. I was trying to really get it finished within the 2-week kind of frame that I had, and I finished it earlier than that. I finished it basically early last week, so still would have had a couple days left to try and finish it up. I knocked out a ton of it last weekend when I had some time. I just kept working. It was one of those projects where if you set it down for a second, you're like, I just want to go back to it and like work it. I just wanted to finish it up because it was taking a lot out of me. It was taking me away for some other projects and other things that I wanted to work on. So I was like, I just need to finish it as quick as possible. And I think one of the things I'm trying to get better at is like realizing when a project or something is finished. When you've learned everything you can from it, when you've done a good enough job, it's good enough to just put out there to show it. Obviously, this can differ if it's like something commercial or like for a client or something. But when it's your own personal work, just like this, when it's something that honestly, I think it turned out better than I kind of was expecting anyway. So once it got to that point, I was like, all right, cool, awesome. There's tons of things that I wish I could change, go back and fix, but I stopped myself from like just boiling over those things too much and just really let it go. And normally I kind of throw it up on the screen as I'm talking or something, but for this one, it's really special. I want to just take a quick cut right here and show you guys the little Doodle Island animation. It's going to be called Enter Doodle Island. It's just a short little animation that I made as kind of like an introduction to the Doodle Island universe that I'm creating, and almost like a kind of like weird, funny little like opening, like a show opening kind of thing. I wanted to try it in that kind of style, and yeah, I'll roll it right now. So let's take a look. Ooh, wow. Did you like it? How was it? Yeah, so that was the little Doodle Island animation, and I had so much fun working on it. I learned a whole bunch. I had never done a animation that was more than like 1 or 2 cuts, really, besides actually the Let Me Do It For You link with the Borzoi dog kind of little short thing that I made was probably the most cuts I'd ever had in anything. I normally stick to just like 1 cut or 1 shot, maybe 2 of like a animating loop GIF or something like that, right? And well, I don't have like any kind of crazy plans to like try and animate my own like full-length show or anything like that, or like animate my own little series or anything for the time being. I did want to kind of like dip my toes into the water that is like, you know, like stringing together multiple cuts to create a story. And the reason I kind of stuck on the idea of it's kind of like a intro for the show or like the thing, you know, is because it is openings and intros are very simple. It's a limited amount of cuts, you know, you're not doing anything too crazy, and you can keep it kind of contained. That has the music there, so I didn't have to worry too much about the other sound effects and stuff like that. And it was simple and easy enough to get it all done where I knew I would still be doing these extra cuts and I'd still be learning a bunch, and I had a ton of fun. Please go check that out. It will be up on my YouTube separately, and it will be up on Instagram and all that and stuff too. And I'm actually working on a little video that's going to be kind of going over my process and how I went about it, with some time lapse of me creating the actual animation. And it's in the works right now. I'm making that right now, so hopefully it turns out pretty good. And when that comes out too, yeah, please check that out. Hopefully I can express all of the things that I went through, well enough to the point where if you're thinking about something like that, it'll help you. I do have probably will have a few pointers and stuff in there if you're interested in that. And I did it all on Clip Studio Paint, so if you're wondering what software I used. And then I created the music in Logic Pro. Yeah, even like the wind sound effects and stuff was just me, like with like a bunch of reverb and fine tuning it and stuff like that. I wanted to have like a cool, like kind of practical effect to it. I will go over everything in more detail in the video, so I don't want to like harp on it for too long here. And then I do have another video that is coming out, and it's me taking a blank, let me just grab this one here, a blank Emma. These are called Emma, these Japanese like wooden plaque things. And I got some blank ones of these and made a custom one. And that video I don't know if that video will be out. It should be finished by the time this comes out. I don't know if I'll have put it out yet because I'll be trying to promote the Doodle Island stuff, but got that and some other videos in the works. I'm having a lot of fun making these YouTube videos and the extra videos, the Pokemon mashups. I should actually, yes, should have another one out for that by the time this comes out. I'll let you guys see what that is. And yeah, the topic that I want to talk about today is talking about schedules. And the reason is because, like I've said recently, I've been trying to have a little bit of a through line through all these recent Doodle Talks of like kind of just things that have been pertinent in my life recently, like as I'm working, thinking of things. And one new thing that I decided to try this past week that's already been working pretty well for me is I created kind of a new way to do scheduling. So for like art stuff, I've always struggled making schedules for art stuff and my own like personal projects because, well, first of all, most of the time, like I only have one or two things kind of going on. So if I'm not just like doodling, or if it's not just like some kind of free time kind of thing, it's normally like I only have one other thing to focus on. So it's not really that hard. I don't really need a schedule for that. But since I've been doing YouTube and taking on multiple things at once and trying to be like consistent and get them out in a timely manner, I decided to try to do a schedule again, because I've tried in the past and it just never really works out. Normally I think the reason it didn't work out is because it would boil down to like what I was just saying, where it would boil down to the point where it's like there's only like 3 things to keep track of, so I don't really need a schedule. Or like if I do, it just becomes kind of like redundant or like just seemed unnecessary. But because the thing is for my freelance work, for like translating and stuff like that, I have like super detailed schedules that I keep, and I've gotten really good at making them over the past like couple years. I worked at a company about 2 years ago doing translating and localization and stuff, and I mean that was just like a crash course in like if you're not on top of your shit, like you're going to fall behind, you're gonna forget things, you're gonna like tons of terrible things are going to happen if you're not like completely on the ball and like have a good detailed schedule, multiple schedules of multiple different things, different clients and stuff like that. So when I started freelancing, I kind of had to adapt. I kind of had to change it a little bit because the old schedule that I had like didn't work exactly the same. Like I couldn't just one-to-one put it into the schedule style that I had been using. So I had to then, kind of create yet again another kind of type of schedule. And this one, I'll plan it out about a month or 2 in advance, as far ahead as possible as I can. But normally there's like a 3 to 4 week window so like the next month that's going to be happening by the time it hits that month. So like say like April starts, I have all of April is already normally scheduled out, everything that I'm doing for clients and different work that I'm working on. I'll try as hard as I can to have like parts of May already figured out, but especially with like translating and localization and stuff like that, you don't always get the benefit of like being told far in advance of like what the commission is going to be, or what they're asking of you, or what the project is going to be. So, you know, when I can, I try and have about 2 months, but normally it's about a month or a month and a half that's like fully planned out. And of course, things are shifting. Deadlines get moved forward or backward, and sometimes I have to ask the people I'm working with to change things, or, you know, let them know that I finished something early, and then I can adjust my own schedule. So nothing's ever set in stone, but I do have like a very particular way of scheduling out everything, what I'll be working on daily. So I have like a monthly calendar that I use, that I then go and kind of just do like a daily summation of like what I need to do based on, because it starts, right, I have the monthly schedule, and then what I do first is I put in all my deadlines. And once I know what all my deadlines are, I kind of work backwards from that to create, like, I don't really think of it as weekly. I go straight from like monthly deadlines and then daily, like working backwards from the deadlines. Like, okay, if the deadline was here, I'd have to do this leading up to it. And then once I do that, then I take another like wider look at the schedule and be like, okay, actually I can move this further back. I'll have extra time to start here early, or like, shit, I gotta work on the weekend, so in order to get this done, because this deadline is Monday, so this is gonna move to Saturday, Sunday, stuff like that, right? Which never want to work on the weekends, but it happens. And the thing that kind of led me into trying this new schedule for YouTube and art and stuff again is I noticed I was starting to put like Doodle Talks, like doing this Doodle Talk, this podcast, into my work schedule, because it was normally on a weekend. So just to keep a reminder of like, hey, if you schedule work for Saturday, but you have a Doodle Talk too, like make sure you're going to be able to do both of them, kind of thing. And one of the other things is, while I was working on the Doodle Island animation, I didn't have a whole lot of time to work on the other stuff. And I was like other YouTube videos, I was still getting the Pokemon mashups done, but I wasn't getting as many YouTube videos done. And I was feeling bad about it. I was like, okay, I need to be more consistent with the non-podcast videos that I'm putting out, because I love Doodle Talk, it's awesome, I'm really enjoying this still, but these podcasts just do not get a lot of views, and they don't bring in a lot of traffic. It's really hard if you don't already have a big reach to just like pull people into a random podcast of someone that they don't know and just like expect them to watch you consistently, or like get to know your personality and stuff like that, right? So I just have a lot of fun making the other videos. So I'm like, I need a way to kind of like another little extra step to keep myself accountable for like making these other videos. And the thing is too, is I tried apps like Trello and some other things, and Trello is really great. It just doesn't work for me for whatever reason. It seems like it should work so perfectly with my style of just like, you can create like different, you know, where you are in like the production phase of like idea planning, work in progress, like need to edit, need to post kind of stuff, and you can just like drag and drop them. It like seems so intuitive and that it would work, but every time I've tried, I had the same problem where it was like I just wouldn't use it. I would forget. I'm like, oh shit, I have a Trello board with all these like things that I had planned. And part of the problem again was like not having enough stuff like properly planned out. So I had these 2 videos and the Pokemon mashup. I had like 3 or 4 things, right? And this was all going to be as soon as I finished Doodle Island. So I finished that as fast as I could. And then for my freelance stuff, I normally do a Google sheet that uses a template that I liked from before, and I kind of adjusted the template. And that's a monthly thing, right? So I kind of tried that, but the monthly doesn't work as well for my art stuff because it's all like really a weekly basis. So I found this other template that has like multiple things. It has a monthly, a weekly, and like a daily thing too. And I adjusted this one weekly portion of it, and I'll try and throw up my actual schedule, or at the very least just like an example of the template or something. And I'll try and if I still have it, I think I should be able to find it. I'm sorry if I can't. If I can find the template that I'm using, I'll link that too, because I saved it as something else. I'm not sure if I have the actual link to the template. But what I've done is I now have a weekly schedule that I could like put in the things that I know I need to do, and on the, so it's just like, you know, like your lined like calendar, right? Like you might see on like a paper calendar, and that you write things in, you know, or like a little notebook, a little like agenda notebook that you might have. And next to, so I can write in whatever I need to do, and then next to it has like a little bar with a drop down. It's a bunch of different statuses, like need to edit, need to record, like it's finished, work in progress, this is still planning phase. And I came up with about 6 or 7 of those so that I can like kind of tell where I am, like in the, how far along I am in the process of accomplishing that goal. And I just started, it's not too detailed, it's still pretty like loose in how I'm doing it, but at the very least now I have my weekly goals. So it's like, you know, every week I know I'm recording a Doodle Talk. Right now, every week I'm doing one Pokemon mashup video, and then currently I'm trying to do once a month, every other week, so at least 2 like other types of YouTube videos, and if I have time, do 3. So at the very least, I'm still putting out one video a week on YouTube with as a podcast, 1 or 2, because outside of the Pokemon mashups, I'm doing other drawing and stuff like that. So those become posts on Instagram and YouTube Shorts and TikTok and stuff like that. And then I'm doing the every other week at least. The bare minimum is every other week have 2, or every other week is 1 other YouTube video that's like non-podcast, like an art challenge or something like that. You know, when you add that up over the month, it's actually a lot, because you're still getting 4 videos a week from the podcast, and then that's 6 videos a month from YouTube, and then on top of that is all the other like short form content that I'm creating. You know, it's, my original goal was going to be 2 videos a week on YouTube, and it's just a little hard at the moment. I think if I found a different kind of niche that I could slide into a little bit more easily, and I do have some ideas of other slightly longer form content videos that I could make at a like low production cost of like time and effort, and that could bump it up to 8, but right now we're looking at 6. And so that's at least, you know, with the YouTube videos, that's 1 or 2 a week, and then Pokemon mashup is 1, and then, you know, I always have at least like 1 or 2 other things that I'm working on. So it's like 4 or 5 weekly main goals that I'm trying to achieve. And then the thing that's nice about the schedule right now that I'm actually enjoying a little bit more is because it is the fact that before it was kind of just like a checklist kind of thing, right? Is kind of how I approached it. But now I have a system where it's like I can show myself if I'm like in the editing phase, because when you have 4 or 5 projects, you now have different steps that you're going through, right? So I now throughout the week, if even though it's only like 4 or 5 things that I'm working on, I might have Monday is the planning phase, Tuesday is recording, Wednesday is editing, Thursday is like need to post, right? So now I'm able to like step it a little bit better, like create little steps and see what needs to be done when. And this is just helping me be a little bit more consistent and keeping myself on track and like motivating me in a way, right? Because the thing, this is to kind of like sum it all up, just as a quick overview of like my schedule and what I do. I could definitely go into more detail. I think I'm gonna try this out for a few months, and if it works, I think I'll go into more detail of like how I might create a video as well, like how I actually schedule my stuff out and how I plan things and how I accomplish them. But for the time being, since this is just like a trial thing, I just wanted to get my thoughts out there, and in case anyone was like thinking about like sticking to a more rigid kind of schedule type of thing for their art, this is kind of how I'm feeling about it right now. The main positives that I'm seeing from keeping to a more strict schedule is obviously 1, you're a lot more organized. 2, you're not forgetting things. You can always see like what you're working on, what you need to work on. And 3 is it's, you know, you're keeping yourself accountable for what you need to do, which in turn keeps you on track, keeps you on top of everything, and then just creates like an extra level of motivation. Because the best thing about keeping a schedule like the way I do is when I finish something and I can switch the status to like the check, like it's finished, that feels so good. And when you look back at a week and you see like, oh, look at all the stuff I did. If I did that last week, I can do it this week. Or like, hey, I did that without, like, it was easier than I thought it was going to be to finish that. So maybe I can push it a little bit more this week. Maybe I can get a little bit more done. Maybe I can get that extra 1 or 2 YouTube videos done. And then I would meet my earlier like dream quota of like 8 videos a month, right? So it's just like a lot of really nice compounding good things that are happening when you do stuff like that. And I mean, right, because when you start to add a lot of elements, like you really do need some kind of a schedule. And I'm finally, I mean, like after like years of like trying to create art project schedules and stuff that are more than just a to-do list or more than just like a reminder, I'm finally seeing something that is working for me, and I'm gonna try and tweak it a little bit here and there, but it's really nice to like actually find something that's working for me. And yeah, it's just great, because if you can find the thing that gels with your work style, you know, because everyone works differently. Some people are night owls, some people are early birds, and some people can't work on a Tuesday just because, you know, whatever, you know, everyone's schedules are different and everyone has different times that they're feeling inspired and have to work or like want to work. But you have to be able to make yourself work when you need to, obviously. But just having the schedule there, seeing it and seeing the benefits from it is amazing. And I just wanted to share that real quick for this week's Doodle Talk. And without going on any too much longer, I'm gonna end it there. So let me know if you have a schedule or an app or software or like a technique that you use. I'm always like asking friends and people, like even if they're not artists, like what kind of like tools they use for scheduling and stuff like that, because it's kind of fun. Like making a really nice and neat schedule is like one of the best feelings in the world for me. I don't know about anyone else. I'm normally not too like organized and prompts and stuff about like that, but like making a good schedule and like having all your affairs in a line and like ordered and everything looks good is just a really nice feeling. So let me know if there's like something else that you guys use, or if you have any other suggestions, if you have any other templates that you really like, please let me know. But that's it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.